Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this live stream chat with me, Brendan Millar, Arts and Culture Manager at the LIC, and Ruth Melican, the Centre's Wellbeing Manager. So we're live now on Facebook and YouTube. If anyone is watching in live and you'd like to share the stream, I would greatly appreciate it. So over this side of your screen, there should be the comments section. You can throw in comments, let us know where you're tuning in from. And if you could click the little share button as well, that'd be amazing. So, hi Ruth, how are you?
Hi Brendan, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Great, I'm great. So I've worked with Ruth now for about 2 years. So I'm very familiar with the work that you do at the Irish Centre. But if you could tell the people tuning in, maybe people who haven't been to the centre or aren't familiar with our services, what does your role entail?
So I manage the Wellbeing Service at the London Irish Centre, and the Wellbeing Service, I'll talk about all the different parts of the service in a bit, but it does include a befriending service, community cafe, social groups, lots of activities online and face to face at the moment too. So it's a very varied service, but predominantly we work to reduce social isolation, to bring people together and foster those connections, and also to help improve people's health and well-being. So linking them in with different health and well-being services for their needs and supporting them around their mental and physical health as well. So we deal with all sorts of people, and predominantly older people, majority of whom would be Irish, but we work with people from all different backgrounds, and you definitely don't have to be Irish to access our services as well. So that's a common myth that I would like to put out there. It's not the case. We do work with people from all different backgrounds as well. But we work with people of all ages too, as I say, predominantly older people, but especially since the pandemic, we've been working with more younger people as well, more families who are now using the centre to access food too, which has been great. So yeah, it's been great expanding our reach and working with the local community as well.
That's great. Yeah. And so we'll get into it now, just about the services that you provide. So let people know at home, maybe kind of the different, if they come to the centre or even if they contact us, what different services can you provide?
So we've lots of different services. One popular one, I guess, in the last few months has been the befriending service. So we have always had a befriending service, but prior to March of this year, it was face-to-face befriending, where we had volunteers visit people, usually once a week in their homes for a chat, and again help to promote connection and reduce isolation. Since March, this has all been telephone befriending, and we greatly expanded the service as well. So we increased our befriending matches from 20 people in March to over 70 people at the height of the pandemic. So it was huge. We had lots of volunteers supporting us with this and signing up to be a befriender, which was fantastic. Um, but yeah, so the befriending service is for people who are, maybe at home, not getting out as much as they used to, and would like to have a regular chat with a friendly voice on the phone. And so that's been going really well. And we do also now have some face-to-face matches. So we have had some pairs meeting in the centre in the community cafe. And we have some pairs as well doing outdoor socially distanced visits too, which has been really nice. And I guess for some people, they've been chatting on the phone for months, and then they've had that opportunity to meet up in person and see each other's faces, which has been lovely too. So that's the befriending service. We have a health advice line as well. So our health advice line is there to support people with both their physical and mental health. This is a new service essentially since March. Prior to this, our health navigator was supporting people in the building in the London Irish Centre. But the health advice line has proved really popular as well. And Kira, who runs the health advice line, has had over nearly 800 sessions with over 170 people during the pandemic. So it's been huge. And it's there to support people with maybe anxiety that they're feeling as a result of the situation, or even giving tips for exercising at home and helping to improve physical health and advocating on people's behalfs and referring on to services. We're signposting where needed to. And yeah, it's proved really beneficial. There's been really good feedback about it the last few months too. We also have a community cafe. So before COVID, we had a lunch club where people could come in up to 3 times a week for their lunch. This obviously all had to stop, and we now have a community cafe. So we set this up back in September, and we have small numbers coming in at the moment, but it's a place where people can come in, meet people. Obviously, it's all socially distanced, but they can meet people and have their lunch, a nice, hearty Irish meal, which people really enjoy. So the community cafe is another one. We also have a community fridge. So this is where we have food that is donated from organisations such as Fair Share and the Felix Project. Really good quality food. And this is there now for people to collect on Tuesdays and Fridays. So people can register to be a recipient of the community fridge and come in and go home with, it could be, tinned foods, or we get lots of fresh fruit and veg in as well. And we are supporting lots of families through the community fridge, which has been great too. We also do different types of activity groups. So these are now online and some face-to-face as well. We do things like coffee mornings, mindfulness, creative writing. And so, yeah, our program has kind of become a little bit smaller in the last few months, but we are looking to expand it now as and when we can. But prior to COVID, we did all sorts of things, like outings and art classes and everything. But now we did actually have a laughing yoga class last week online, which was really great and something very different, which people enjoyed, and it helped to lift the spirits at the moment too. But we also have social groups throughout London, in places like Ealing and Hammersmith and Sutton, and these groups are on hold at the moment, but we are keeping in touch with people with very regular check-in calls. We've made over 4,000 check-in calls to over 400 people since March, so we are definitely maintaining that connection and looking to reopen those groups when we can as well. So as well as that, we have a digital inclusion project. That is a new initiative in the last few months, and that is where we're helping to get people connected through tablets and comp devices, and help them to increase connection with people digitally and also access the online world, which is becoming more and more necessary these days. So I hope I haven't gone on too much, but that's the wellbeing service in a nutshell.
Is that it? I'm only joking. That's amazing. That's a huge amount of workload. I mean, you must be rushed off your feet. Obviously, I'm aware of it. I've been aware of it, but when you put it all out on the table like that, it just sounds like a huge amount. So you kind of touched on it a little bit there, just about the change from COVID since March. Can you tell us a little bit of the kind of journey? Because obviously you adapted a lot of the services quite well, and maybe some of the services might have somewhat flourished, I suppose, in the increase in the amount of befrienders and stuff like that. But take us on just a kind of a short journey of March till now, and how your services have adapted.
Yeah, so it's been a year of constant change. We're constantly adapting and changing services in line with different restrictions. But I guess back in March, we were preparing for St. Patrick's Day, which is obviously a big celebration amongst our community. And all our St. Patrick's Days all our St. Patrick's Day events were cancelled, which was a huge blow, and suddenly the centre was closed. So rather than having people into the building, we had to look at how we could support people at home. So we set up food parcel deliveries initially, and then also hot meal deliveries. So when people couldn't come into us for food, we decided we would bring the food to them. So it was a huge operation. We had lots of volunteers kindly offering to do driving deliveries out to people. And this really helped to obviously provide people with food, but also to maintain that connection. So a lot of people would look forward to, their weekly delivery and a chance to chat to the driver, and they mightn't have seen anybody else face to face throughout the week. So they enjoyed that 5-minute chat and check in. And it was important for us as well to know that we had the drivers going out to check in with people and they could raise any issues that they noticed. But yeah, over the course of COVID, I guess that was a huge operation. We delivered nearly over 4,000 meals and over 1,400 food parcels. So huge numbers there. But we were so lucky, I guess, with the support from the community. And, like we said, all the volunteers that came forward to help out, be it with driving and doing all the deliveries or with telephone befriending. Obviously, with people not coming into the centre, we needed to maintain that connection, and telephone befriending was the most obvious way of doing that. And we've had some fantastic feedback from people who have been allocated a befriender as well. And we've had some really nice friendships form as a result of that. People really looking forward to those calls, getting to know each other. And we've had some really positive feedback from the befrienders as well, saying that it was as much a benefit to them as it was to the people that they were calling. So it's been really nice in that sense. But yeah, we've had to develop our services, and we were doing the deliveries, but then we stopped them in March, and we're delighted to be able to reopen the building. And we were having people in for lunches then. And again, it was, some people hadn't left the house in 6 months, and then they were delighted to come back to the centre. So it was a huge occasion for them. And for them to be able to see their friends again, albeit in a different manner, but for them to be able to come together again and be back in the London Irish Centre, which for so many is like their second home. So that was really nice. And obviously we've had to kind of change that with the second lockdown. We could no longer serve food, but we were offering takeaway meals, and we stayed open because we were very much aware of the impact of closing that it has on people's mental health. So we want to be there for our community and stay open as much as possible and bring people together. Because it is so important for people's mental health, and the isolation is so tough for especially our older people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It is, yeah. It's definitely that tricky balance, to kind of and you've done it so well. Like, you've adapted all of the services, amazingly. We have one question in from Rodney. Thank you very much, Rodney, for asking that question. But Rodney's interested in: do you still need volunteers based in London? And if so, how should they sign up?
Yes, so we're currently okay for volunteers at the moment, but I would suggest to check out the website and go onto our volunteering page. You can register as a volunteer and say any specific areas that you might be interested in. And even if we might not need volunteers at the moment, further down the line, I would keep an eye on the website and social media, as we're often looking for different volunteers and in different areas as well.
Amazing, great. And we actually will have a chat with one of our volunteers next week, so keep an eye out for that chat. So have you got any tips for people, tips for well-being through the winter for people tuning in? And I suppose, we talk about the 5 ways to well-being throughout the winter well-being season. Yeah, how would you frame maybe the services that we provide within those 5 ways? And do you have any other kind of tips that people can take for staying well?
Well, I guess when we're planning services, we're always looking at the 5 ways to well-being. One of those is to be active, and we would be really conscious of running exercise classes and walking groups in the London Irish Centre and keeping people active. The last few months, with people being at home, they have often commented that they haven't been doing as much exercise. So now that we're open again, we do exercise at most sessions. When we have people in for the community cafe, we do a bit of movement before the lunch as well. It could be gentle yoga, or it could be chair-based exercise and some stretching. and we do walking groups too. So I think being active and exercising is so important to stay well, and it's something that I do a lot of as well, just to keep myself sane during these strange times. But definitely being active, whether that's an exercise, a workout at home, or a walk, or a run, whatever it is that works for you, but some form of movement. I think as well, connection is huge. So bringing people together, it could be a phone call with a friend or a doorstep visit to a neighbor, and even having a conversation with somebody in a shop when you're paying for something. So definitely just keeping up that human connection. We all need it and thrive from it. So I would definitely make an effort there, and not to hide away like it can be tempting to do sometimes, especially in these cold winter evenings. I think keep learning as well. So in the London Irish Centre, we do lots of different educational programs, such as Irish language classes, Irish music, and we're always looking for new ideas for new activities. And it's really important to keep the mind active. That could even be reading a book, which we have a well-stocked library in the London Irish Centre too. We're doing a crossword, learning new words. But there's so many different ways to keep learning, and even as you get older, it's even more important to do so. I think giving as well. So obviously we have a strong volunteer program at the London Irish Centre, and giving back is really important for wellbeing too. So that could be doing one act of kindness each week, or donating to a charity. But there's lots of different ways of giving, and that's really important for well-being too. And then the last one I would say is taking notice. So I've quite a few plants in my home, as you can see behind me. They're often a really nice way to sort of brighten up your environment, or even if you're going out for a walk and taking notice of what's around you, that's also very beneficial. So I think there's lots of different ways to stay well, but everybody is different, and it's finding then what works for you too. But there's some guidelines anyway that I would go by.
Brilliant, that's amazing. And just on learning as well, we also have the London Irish Book Club. So just to let people know about that. Do you want to give a shout out before we kind of wrap things up? Do you want to give a shout out to any of your team?
Yeah, so my team are fantastic. So we have Maria and Joe, who are our wellbeing officers, and they've been doing all the check-in calls, running the community cafe and our peer support groups, and they do the social groups as well. So they're absolutely amazing and have kept going with all the changes throughout the last few months. We also have Caroline then, who has been doing a fantastic job running the befriending service, which again has changed a lot. But she's hung in there and done a great job of training up lots of new volunteers, and making matching people with befrienders and keeping them all very happy. And then we have Kira as well, who has been running the health advice line. And Kira is a wealth of knowledge and experience in terms of health, physical and mental, and has been doing a great job of keeping people well throughout the last few months. So yeah, I think fantastic team. Everyone's worked really hard, and hopefully if we have anyone accessing our services as a result of this, I'm sure you'll be in good hands whenever you meet any of them as well, and get a warm Irish welcome.
Brilliant. Thanks a million, Ruth. So, yeah, it's been amazing chatting to you. I'll just let people know that if they'd like to see any of our other winter wellbeing videos, you can go to the video section here on our Facebook page. There's been chats with Rory McKiernan, our CEO, Ellen Ryan. We have had some lovely storytelling happening on Saturdays, and you can watch them all back on the video section of our Facebook page or our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/London Irish Centre. So tomorrow we actually have two events happening. So we have a lunchtime Facebook and YouTube screening of a short play, and it's called The Journey Home, and we'll have a chat with its writer, director and producer. Three different people, not the one person. So we'll have a chat with those three. And then 7 p.m. tomorrow we will have a chat with DJ and producer Arvine, and he's going to bring on three of his favourite emerging artists. We'll have Aisling Logan, we'll have Luke Carey, and Sample Answer Maurice. For this will be an amazing evening of performance and chats. There'll be live music and there'll be poetry. It's going to be amazing. So if everyone could please tune in. So I think that's it from us, Ruth. So I'd just like to thank everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Thanks very much. Bye.
Scored in the Premiership, got a Grand Slam in Twickenham. This community doesn't want an MBE, CBE, OBE or knighthood. We just want to live and love on this land with you. We just want to recognise that others the world over do too. As some build walls, we hope for bridges.
Can we take the long way home? 'Cause moments like this are hard to hold on to. And I know it's not easy on your own when the pieces don't fit. Well, that's all we've ever known. So